Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairwoman McLean, Ranking Member Porter, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Denise Forte, and I am the President and CEO of the Education Trust, a national advocacy and research organization committed to advancing policies and practices that dismantle the racial and economic barriers embedded in the American education system. But I'm also very proud to have been a congressional staffer for 20 years, most recently as the staff director for the Committee on Education and the Workforce for Ranking Member Bobby Scott. But I'm proudest to be the mother of 2 young boys who currently attend public school in Washington, D.C. Today, I'm pleased to share with you EdTrust's assessment of how students have fared as a result of the pandemic and recommendations on how we address the multi-generational inequities that existed long before COVID-19. We can all agree that we must provide the highest quality education for all children to reach their academic potential and overcome the devastating impact of unfinished learning exacerbated by the pandemic. We know that far too many students, especially those of color and those from low-income backgrounds, suffered disproportionately due to the pandemic because of many structural inequities, such as instructional quality, home broadband access, mental health supports, and many other external factors. As we advise states and districts on how to best prioritize investments, EdTrust research indicates there are 2 strategies most effective to accelerate learning. You've heard about them already from my colleagues here: targeted intensive tutoring and expanded learning time. These solutions are agreed upon by experts across the political spectrum. We also know that strong, positive relationships with teachers and school staff can dramatically enhance students' motivation, academic engagement, and social skills. Additionally, many states have already begun investing in expanded learning time in the summer and after school, which research shows can accelerate learning. Parents are also deeply concerned about their students' recovery. They are focused on their academic progress and their well-being. Parents want better data to know how their students and schools are performing at this time and whether resources are being allocated in an equitable fashion. And they want the federal government, states, and districts to invest in strategies for increasing access to mental health, including more trained counselors, nurses, and school psychiatrists. We are also calling for professional learning opportunities for educators on learning acceleration, culturally affirming practices in pedagogy, and technology-enabled instruction to ensure that students have the guidance necessary to reach high standards. Finally, because the pandemic is far from over, we must look beyond this year. States and school districts should lay the foundation for long-lasting structural changes. The average district has relied on ESSER funding to support roughly 8% of its budget in recent years. The loss of these funds will be hardest on Title I school districts since they receive more federal dollars on average. A state like Arkansas, for example, where 84% of all ESSER funds have been exhausted, 11% of their education revenue was supplied by ESSER funds, and they have a growth rate of incoming revenue slowing by 6%, making it particularly challenging to avoid destructive cuts. School boards and superintendents are deciding school closures and teacher layoffs right now, and I mean right now. Without additional federal and state investment, district budgets could be slashed by an average of $1,200 per student. In real terms, this means students lose. States should spend remaining dollars on evidence-based approaches to academic recovery, including increasing funding for Title I, Title II, to ensure that schools serving the highest number of students from low-income backgrounds have the resources they need. Schools have been essential to every community in this country. The risks are too high for students and for the future of this country. Failure is not an option, but working with the support of communities and families, federal, state, and district leaders can take steps to ensure that all students, especially those who need the most support, can obtain an education that equips them to excel. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today, and I welcome questions.